Promise that still good in me. Oh, I've done wrong. Ran away from the city and know it's been too long, too long. Sorry I changed on you. I'm sorry I changed. Sorry I changed on you.
Me to call a piece at one time. This is the Book of Enoch, chapter 51 by Zane Cottrell Ch NoopooH. The 7 black walking orb stars. Uyu Tarkino Uno NoopooH. Noon Ethiopian year 60, NoopooH embryo year 96. 768 days until February 5th, 2025 AD. Verse 1. After that period in the place where I had seen every secret sight, I was snatched up in a whirlwind and carried off westwards. There my eyes beheld the seekers of heaven and all which existed on earth, a mountain of iron, a mountain of copper, a mountain of silver, a mountain of gold, a mountain of fluid metal, and a mountain of lead. Explanation. This is explained in Nebuchadnezzar Dream video 3 weeks ago. A mountain of iron. To understand this, we got to go to the planet symbols again from Wikipedia. All right, the orb of iron is myself, March or Mars, but you can see that's the element for Mars. A mountain of copper, the orb of copper is myself, Venus. The orb of silver is myself, Sepu, the moon. The orb of gold is us, Repu, the sun, Jupiter, and Saturn, Saturn. You see the symbol. The mountain of fluid metal is myself, Mary, Mercury, a mountain of fluid metal. Alright, what is liquid metal? Mercury is the only metal that is liquid at normal temperature. And a mountain of lead, the mountain of lead is myself, Saturn, Saturn. You can see Saturn here. Element or metal is lead. And I inquired of the angel who went with me, saying, what are these things which in secret I behold? He said, all these things which you behold shall be for the dominion of the Messiah, that he may command and be powerful upon earth. Listen to sound right cosmic reason. The Messiah/Savior cycle has passed on February 5th, 1962 AD. That's when it ended. Listen to reason. Indeed, it is a fact that this writer and messenger for NoopooH Noon desired to warn experts and laymen alike that he, Afro, was not the Savior, because the time for the Savior has passed. The Savior was Logos. It is now time for the Liberator, and Liberator is Nous, also called NoopooH, the resurrector and liberator of the mental dead. Therefore, do not entertain the idea of murdering this writer, Afro, for his sacrificial lamb, because it is not salvation time, but judgment time. It is now wise for all peoples to act accordingly. Let it be remembered always and well. Introduction to the Nature Book 2, page 268. That he may command to be powerful upon earth. Listen to sound right reason. This is in reference to Afro-Unu's writings as NoopooH in 1968 about having contact with us NoopooH and the 9 orbs powers. Just as there are forces that can foretell the future, there are also forces
It's 9 o'clock.
that can retrace the past, and NoopooH, writer of Bible interpretations and explanations, has access to all forces necessary to retrace and foretell, and this fact made these booklets possible. One authorized and appointed by the force of nature is given connection and access to powers of the sun and moon and powers of planet Earth, that he may take his place in the sun, meaning in universal affairs, and all his kind who are able to learn, understand, and accept universal knowledge and facts are disclosed by 9 ether will also be given the same connections and powers for realization and maintenance of liberty, justice, equality, rightness, and survival beyond Armageddon, the war of showdown between right and wrong. Bible Interpretation Book 2, number 5. The three orbs mentioned here, the sun, earth, and moon, are also responsible for the production of the nature books. Alright, so just bring this up a little bit bigger. As you can see here are the publishers of this book in individuality: the star representative, also known as NoopooH the sun; the planet representative, also known as NoopooH the earth; the satellite representative, also known as NoopooH the moon. Alright, and this is his first publication of this book, July 19th, 1993. Excuse me. For those who have the nature books, especially those who have come at talking on NoopooH over the years about who had the books longer, only to miss the main ingredient, which is sound right reason, nor us, the 9 orbs, did not choose you, shaking our orbs out loud. You mentally dead, arrogant humans, mainly slaves of jail pedophile Dwight York, who are guilty of attacking called Kinu Unu NoopooH for wearing the 9 orbs names as if he made it up, only showed your ignorance. If any of you have seen Afro Unu's Rest in Peace reincarnated in 9 Piece in Africa obituary, you will see his 2 most trusted kins had our names given to them. This is the obituary of Johnny Eugene Brown, also known as Afro Unu. This is an excerpt from the obituary, and it says 2 kin relatives and co-publishers are Arvin Bryant, which is Seepoo, rest in power, and Arthur Simmons Jeepoo. Alright, you can look up the obituary yourself and read the article. So it's clear that I was not the first one to have these orbs names. So I don't know how y'all missed that, but let's get it on. The 9 reality is you are all jealous and have not been chosen by sound right reason, but unsound left descending reasoning. Remember this well, Afro Unu having access to us 9 orbs, Eniad, Pisejet, isn't the first time this was recorded in a text. Joshua chapter 10. Then Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Aijalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped till the people had revenge upon their enemies. Listen to NoopooH the sun's sound right reasoning. It is impossible for anything in motion such as orbs to start moving. However, the point of the matter is Joshua, son of Nun, which you can find this in Joshua chapter 1, Joshua the son of Nun, had contact with us, the orbs, and it is the same today. Secondly, the moon having stopped is an interpolation or insertion from an earlier account or event. The fact this verse said the moon stopped until the people got revenge, then the moon should be rotating, not continue to move, because floods will have occurred worldwide. The truth of the matter is the moon used to rotate until it died scientifically 18,060,000 years ago. Listen to reason. Our moon Sin is one of the ancient names of the moon and moon god. Originally had lakes and rivers of waters until the suns and the universes died scientific death 18 million years ago. When the writer states that the moon produces hermaphrodites, he means on planet Earth by way of mind and spirit, because there was never any major life organisms on the moon because of its status as being new to gender. And when the moon lost its water to planet Earth at 0.6 was the beginning of evolution and death on the smart circle of order 18 million years ago, the moon stopped turning on its own axis and started dragging through space instead of rolling, and thereby became an outstanding opposition to the sun, and increasing so until the end of the moon cycle, which is at the present time being at the marking of the year 1962. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. Introduction to the Nature of Nature, Book 1, page 57. Saturn or Saturn has a moon named Hyperion that rotates at this time. Is Hyperion tidally locked? Hyperion, together with Pluto's moons Nix and Hydra, is among only a few moons in the solar system known to rotate chaotically. Although it is expected to be common in binary asteroids, it is also the only regularly planetary natural satellite in the solar system known not to be tidally locked. And we'll get into tidally locked so y'all can equal stand how this whole thing even
Just look at the moon. Isn't it beautiful? Take out a nice pair of binoculars or a small telescope tonight. You'll be able to see huge craters and ancient lava plains. Look again tomorrow, and you'll be able to see the exact same things. As you know, our modest moon only shows us one face, ever. If you could look at the moon orbiting the Earth from above, you'd see that it orbits once on its axis exactly as long as it takes to orbit once around our planet. It's always turning, showing us exactly the same face. What's it hiding? The moon isn't the only place in the solar system where this happens. All the major moons of Jupiter and Saturn show the same face to their parent. Pluto and Charon, or even stranger, the two worlds are locked, facing one another for all eternity. Astronomers call this tidal locking. It happens because of the gravitational interaction between worlds. As you're aware, the moon is pulling at the Earth, causing the tides. In fact, the pull of the moon is so strong that the ground itself rises up 30 centimeters, about a foot, as it passes by. It's even more powerful on the moon. The gravity from the Earth distorts the moon into an oblong shape. The sides, pointed towards and away from the Earth, bulge outward, while the others are pulled inward to compensate. It makes the moon football shaped. It's no big deal now, but in the ancient past, shortly after its formation, the moon was spinning rapidly. This meant that the part of the moon bulged towards us was constantly changing, like water tides on Earth. Vast amounts of rock needed to shift and change shape to bulge towards the Earth and then settle down again. And this takes time. So the position of the bulges on the moon were always a little out of alignment with the pull of gravity of the Earth. And so these bulges acted like handles that the Earth's gravity could grab onto and torque back into place. Over time, the Earth's gravity slowed down the rotation speed of the moon until it stopped, forever. The same process happened on all the large moons in the solar system. Because of its smaller mass, our moon became tidally locked to the Earth billions of years ago. And now the process is continuing to make the Earth tidally locked to the moon as well.
The reason Hyperion spins chaotically is based on the fact Hyperion didn't have water on it in the first place, like NoopooH, our moon of Earth, to lock on the waters of Mother Earth. According to moon science, other moons were not formed the same way our moon was birthed from Earth. The other planets who have moons did not give birth to their satellites, their moons, by explosion in parts of the planets going into orbit to form their moons like Mother Earth did. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 53 in part. In the Nature book, he states that the sun, right along with the planet, he said the sun made some moons the same way that the sun made the other planets, meaning rolled their core from some of the matter that still was left around after original creation. So some of those moons were just rolled from a brain core and then given a body around his brain core and put into orbit. All of them didn't come from the planet themselves. Matter of fact, you can look at a part of the Nature books where it shows a bisection of a planet, how most planets look, and like I think the planet that represents Mars in the Nature book, you will see it in book 2, it doesn't have a womb in it. Joshua son of Nun, 69. Johnny Brown, 69. The nun is actually noon. Let it always be known. Verse 5, and the angel of peace answered me, saying, Wait, but a short time, and you shall understand, and every secret thing shall be revealed to you, which the Lord of spirits has decreed. Explanation. That time was speaking of was February 5th, 1962 to February 5th, 2025 AD. Those mountains which you have seen, the mountain of iron, the mountain of copper, the mountain of silver, the mountain of gold, the mountain of fluid liquid, and the mountain of lead, all these in the presence of the elect one shall be like honeycomb before the fire, and like water descending from above upon these mountains, and shall become debilitated before his feet. And debilitated means to be weak and weakened. Explanation. It has been told to you all that Alpha Uno is already reincarnated and is 11 at this time. He indeed is the elect and Unu, first king of Africa in 2029 AD. Secondly, the honeycomb before the fire means that when we, the 9 oils, began Armageddon to the day of the cataclysm, will flow slowly like honey as it drips and melts everything in its way. You all will see this melting away when the ring of fire goes off and the lava rolls down the volcanoes, burning everything in its path, while the young king gets his request fulfilled to destroy all enemies of the Ethiopian race, other oppressed people, justice and equality by him when he was Alpha Uno. This is the ring of fire, which you should do some research on. This is very powerful. This is what the religions call hell on earth, which is just these whole 450 volcanoes. So it goes from Brazil all the way up this other side of America, on the other side of Asia, all the way down here by Australia, and you got, some of the other little islands and countries that are there too. This is honey as an example. As you can see, the honey is dripping slow. Honey dripping like lava, slow. So you just kind of look at that. And in those days, men shall not be saved by gold and by silver, nor shall they have it in their power to secure themselves and to fly. There should be neither iron for war, nor a coat of mail for the breast. Copper shall be useless also that which neither rust nor consumes away, and lead shall not be coveted. All these things shall be rejected and perish from off the earth when the elected one shall appear in the presence of the Lord of spirits. Explanation. This was explained in verse 5 above. 2 minute column of peace in martial war times.
I've done wrong. Ran away from the city and it's been too long. Sorry I changed.